I tried to get back to keto over and over and over and over again. And a couple weeks in, I was lethargic and I didn't feel good and I couldn't digest and I just felt awful. And so I had to pivot. I had to change what I was doing because I just kept hitting this roadblock. And I think that was my try. And there was a roadblock of, nope, this isn't the path. Try something else. Like, let's just pivot and keep going. And that's what I've done. I'm not giving up on feeling my best. I'm not giving up on bettering myself. It might not look like what I thought it was going to look like, but I'm going to keep going. And I mean, you've had to do this. You've had to adapt over and over and over again. Like, and I think that's really mine and your story from childhood. We just adapted to whatever environment we were around. And sometimes we're like, oh, hell no, I am not staying in this environment. I'm getting the hell out of here. I ain't adapting to shit anymore. I'm just getting out of here. But yeah, like on that path of try, adaptation is so vital.
And as you were talking, I was thinking about how sometimes we let desperation for whatever push us into trying things that aren't great. And so going back to the weight loss, think about the people that try every quack diet trend known to mankind, the grapefruit diet, the peanut butter cookie diet. That was a real one, the cookie diet. I actually interviewed that guy on my podcast one time, Dr. Siegel. He sent me some of the cookies. They were very, very, very high in fiber. And so apparently you're going to crap out your weight. But like desperation drives people to try, which will inevitably fail. If you are trying because you are desperate, you're going to fail. Like, don't let desperation be your motivational factor for why you try anything.
Yes. So when I started weight loss, I was in desperation mode. I was at the biggest I'd ever been. I felt horrible and I was in desperation mode. And the pure results is what kept driving me in the beginning. Like, I was just getting such great results. It was just, but the way I started my journey, definitely don't recommend. Again, it was one of those, I'm going all in. You got 7 days. What you got? And, but looking back, I never would suggest that when I was having my own clients and I was coaching on the ketogenic diet. I did that for a little bit. I would always tell them, stop with the expectations that you're going to drop 10 pounds in a week. Just stop putting that pressure on yourself. Stop, because when you do that, when you put that such high pressure on yourself, you think you failed when you only lost 2 pounds, or when you only got one new client, or when you only, I was trying to like make this relative to something that's not weight loss, like when you only do this thing. Why are we so inept on this thing, this progress that we made, downing it because it's not more? It's still freaking progress. You're doing it.
Yeah, and on the concept of trying yourself to failure, let's define failure, because in mind, you might think you tried, you failed, but you were on the journey. You only lost 2 pounds, but you expected 10. You lost 2 pounds. So I think, is that a failure or success? In the context of expecting 2 pounds is a failure. On the progress of, or on the concept of people progressing towards a goal, it was huge success. And so that's another part of this discussion. People stop trying because they think they've failed and they haven't actually failed.
Yes, exactly. Man, that speaks to me, because that is who I am. I think I failed because I didn't make this particular goal by this particular time. And so, I'm a failure, worst person ever. I'm just a horrible, terrible person because I did not achieve that thing. I didn't achieve that lofty goal by that certain amount of time. And so I've learned along my path, stop putting a date on it. Just stop. And so, you know what? And I know this is really hard for people to wrap their brain around when they're at that desperation mode with trying to lose weight. I want to lose weight, guys. Okay. I'm 20 pounds heavier than I want to be right now. Thank you, post-hospitalization. Thank you, COVID. Thank you, stress. Thank you, you name it. And I've tried and tried and tried. And finally I got to the point where I'm trying myself to failure over and over and over. Ask Jimmy, over the last God near freaking year, I've attempted weight loss, weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. I just want to lose weight. I just want to lose weight over and over and over again. And I push myself and I push myself, and then I crash every single time because my body's not ready. And also, I had that mindset of, well, I didn't lose 10 pounds, so I'm a failure. Even though I would lose like 2 if I would just keep going. I'm laughing at myself, guys. And I would call Jimmy like distressed because I wasn't making enough progress. But I'm still making progress. But I would try myself to failure.
If you lost a half a pound a week for a full year, that's 26 pounds.
And that's what I need to lose. That's more than I need to lose.
So that's how you do it. When you try, set reasonable goals so that, like we talked about how to eat an elephant, it's one bite at a time. And I told you when we were talking about this episode the other day, I didn't lose 180 pounds. I lost 10 pounds 18 times. Yes. That was my goal. In fact, I had it every 10 pounds on a little downward. I made a big poster board. This was back in 2005, so we didn't have graphics and things. But I made this poster board, and I would track it. And every 10 pounds, I would celebrate. So the first week, I lost, 15 pounds in the first week. I had a lot of stuff in me. I just had to get out. But like every 10 pounds, I would celebrate the 10 pounds. So then the next one, I'd be like 1 pound away. I'm like, I got to get on there. And I would then celebrate when I hit that next 10 pounds, not with food, but with doing an activity. It was fun. And towards the end, those celebrations became less frequent, but that's okay. At the first, I was celebrating so much. I was like, it was so fun to see that and get that validation that my trying was succeeding because I was celebrating in the midst of the try, not waiting to the very end goal to say, woo.
Oh, woo. That was, sorry, that was so funny. Woo. Okay, sorry, that was distracting for me. So yes, I'm doing the same thing right now. So I told myself, all right, this is my story, guys. Behind the scenes, I promise you will learn all about it very soon. Behind the scenes. Jimmy and I are working on something, and I said, well, okay, I'm going to try. And so what I did was the room that I'm sitting in was a guest bedroom. It is decorated for a guest bedroom. That was the plan. It's pink. I don't know if you noticed. I'm not a pink person. This is not me. This is not my style. This is a guest bedroom pretty. That's what that was. And so when Jimmy and I started the podcast, I quickly realized I need a room that doesn't have a bed in it. When I first started recording, it was really sad, my setup. Like I had Rubbermaid containers sitting on top of each other in this teeny tiny little ring light that if I hit any of those containers, it was falling down. So that's how I started this podcast, guys, from the bottom up. And now we're 22 episodes in, and I'm looking around at this office that has a desk in it that was just a makeshift desk. And I've got this makeshift room, and I realized, oh, I'm makeshifting my goals. I got big goals. I got big things I'm going to do, and I've been trying at this, and now it's time to go all in. And I've just... because that's what I kept telling to myself. Well, if this doesn't work out, I'll be totally fine. And I still feel that. I still feel that energy of I don't need this to be any certain thing. I don't need any certain I don't have any certain expectations. But at the same time, I have to feel this. I have to feel this path that I'm going down. I can't just kind of go in here and like tiptoe and plus I'm a girl and I need a space. I need pretty. Okay, I need pretty. I need my office to be pretty. But in putting the effort and the money and the drive into this environment, into what I'm going after, it's going to try me to success rather than try me to failure. Because this goes back to like just dipping your toe in, which is what I was guilty of in the beginning. I'm like, let me see how this podcast thing is. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know how to do this. Let me just see how this goes.
Well, and let's back up to the podcast itself. You know how many weeks we had to talk back and forth? I'm not qualified. Yes, you are. I'm not qualified. Yes, you are. I don't want to try. Yes, you should. I don't want to fail. I won't let you. I mean, we had those conversations about this very podcast. You kicked and screamed yourself until I was like, all right, let's just record one. And we did episode 1. And you're like, that was cool. Can we do another one? I was like, yeah, that's the point.
3 back to back. I was so excited after that first. I was a little nervous. If you go back and listen or watch episode 1,
Yeah.
Welcome to Chaos. It was a little bit. So I was a little nervous, I definitely wasn't as comfortable on camera and on vocals as I am now. And I try to get better every week where I'm not as nervous. But yeah, like going back to that, you had to pull me along of, Brittany, just try, please. Like, come on, let's do this. There was a lot of that.
In your case, being the perfectionist that you are, trying, you don't want to try because you risk not being perfect. And that messes your brain up entirely. So I'm going to step on your toes, and anybody else that's a perfectionist.
Bring it.
You probably don't try a lot of things you should have been trying because of the fear of not being perfect. And I want to say, if that's anybody, including you, Miss Brittany, anybody out there right now, there's something you always wanted to try and do and attempt to accomplish, don't try yourself to failure before you even try, because that's also a form of trying yourself to failure, is not trying yourself to failure.
I'm not crying at all. That was a total call out, and I know, and I needed it. I need that so much. So starting a podcast has been something I wanted to do for 3 years. 3 years, even before like weight loss. Like I had started listening to podcasts. I was like, God, this is so cool. I'd love to have one. I didn't know what I want to talk about it. I had no idea. I'm like, I want to do this. And I remember when you interviewed me, so long ago, before our podcast, on yours, on Levita. I can't remember if it was Levita or Real Talk.
It was, it was one where I was talking about childhood trauma. I want to say it was Real Talk, and it was in like February or so last year, or March last year when I first came back. You were one of my first guests back.
Yeah, and that was actually the second podcast that I had gotten interviewed on. And every time I would get interviewed, it would just like, oh my God, I want to do this every week. I love this so much. I love it. And so like I just had this drive. And so, man, honestly, thank you. And to all the listeners, guys, if it was not for Jimmy, this thing would not be here, because I needed I am a perfectionist, and that is a definite part of this. Don't not try because it's not going to be perfect. Because let me tell you, it's not going to be. Talk to the perfectionist here. It's not going to be perfect on your first time. It's not going to be perfect on your 100th time. You know why? Because we're not perfect. We can't. There's no achievement of perfect. The achievement is progress. And so I look back at episode 1. Oh, man. I look back at episode 1 recently, and I was like, oh, girl. Oh, girl.
You should episode 1 of the Living La Vida Low Carb Show. Welcome back to the Living La Vida Low Carb Show. Oh, it's so horrible. I'm listening to my voice going, why do I sound like a clown in a circus? It was so weird. I may have to pull it out and air it.
Oh my goodness. That would be so cool to pull that one out.
Grasshopper New Media presents the Livin' La Vida Low Carb Show with Jimmy Moore. Some people don't want you to know the truth about the healthy low carb lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change that helped me shed 180 pounds. The USDA and the FDA aren't going to help you. You need to take responsibility for your own health. Hello, low carbers! Hey there, all you wonderful people out in podcast land. My name is Jimmy Moore, and I'm your host of this broadcast you are listening to right now, called the Livin' La Vida Low Carb Show.
1,500 episodes in, 1,600.
1,700 plus now.
Oh, yes.
It goes to show you that try is the first step to any success. Even if that try seems like a failure at the time.